Why do so many Americans believe in illusions and are easily susceptible to them, not only found in Christianity, but beyond it as well, be it this or that conspiracy, and do not have even the basic Christ discernment in them? Because Christianity has, in the Western world at least, for 17 centuries been a primary tool of the dark forces, the forces of Antichrist, to get people to blindly believe in illusions so that people would blindly follow the blind leaders. And it is no different today, where the serpentine mind used people's inability to discern to support and elect Donald Trump, who has done everything possible to destroy prosperity and opportunity for American people, setting America's social and economic development backwards. And Christianity is indeed the primary tool of the Antichrist forces used against the progress in America, pulling against America going into the next level of Christ development, desperately trying to keep people trapped in these illusions and serpentine lies. Why does America have such low social awareness and social safety nets compared to European democracies? A lack of Christ development that would have otherwise allowed you to develop basic humanity in you, that would allow you to see and say, we are in this together. We should not do these inhumane things to other people. We should not allow other people to suffer and struggle in life while we collect every tax from them. There should be not only social and economic safety for the people, but proper distribution of wealth instead of allowing it to be concentrated in the hands of 5% of the elite in America. We also should not allow these elites to exploit the general population by manipulating the economy and allow them to siphon wealth from the population in all possible intricate means. How did it happen in America, where there is a common belief that America is the wealthiest nation in the world, yet many people cannot afford to be alive, not even mentioning pursuing any happiness that is guaranteed by the Constitution to the American people?
And so what is taking place with Christianity that became the force of evil in America? They sense that it is fading. They sense that more and more people are seeing that this or that idea must be an illusion, that it is not true, that it is contradictory. People are more and more beginning to see that the churches do not have answers to their questions about life, and that it makes no sense what they are spouting off in their doctrines. The Antichrist forces beyond the physical realm and those who are in embodiment and part of Christianity have aligned themselves with these dark forces. They sense that they are losing the battle. And that is why they have become so desperate that they have to act it out in this extreme ways. This is why many Christians have aligned themselves with Donald Trump. You have seen it in overturning Roe versus Wade and fighting on women's rights. You have seen it in January 6th Capitol attack in 2021, a direct attack on democracy and what America stands for. Yet apparently Christians believe that violating women's rights and destroying democracy was in alignment with Christ, and that Jesus would have approved of these acts. Show me where Jesus ever was promoting the suppression of women, or where he was promoting the use of force to solve problems in society. You are confusing the Antichrist mind with the Christ mind. And many, many other acts Christians have already committed in the name of the Antichrist mind. And this is, of course, what will lead to their downfall much quicker, because by becoming more and more extreme, it also becomes more and more obvious, and more people will look at this and say, this cannot be right. This just cannot be right. This is not of Christ. This cannot be of God. This cannot be of Jesus Christ. This has nothing to do with America, with democracy, and the universal good.
And to some extent, many among Christians have already begun to see through the extreme, be it in this church, in this pastor, in this apologist acting out online, that this cannot be of Christ at all, that we cannot back up Donald Trump and his office anymore because they are completely out of touch with Christ and what they are doing. And what have these people been doing exactly? Well, it can only be described as waging war on the American people. But what have Christians been doing by backing Donald Trump? Well, it can only be described as waging war against democracy and the Christ principles America was founded on, the war against progress into higher Christ development. They attempted to use Donald Trump to install their belief system, what they called traditional values, as the supreme one in the nation, so that all the democratic principles, American principles, would be subject to their belief, to the dead words in the Bible. They want people not to have allegiance to higher principles, higher values that are based on the Christ mind, but based on the Antichrist mind. This is no different to what you see in Islamic Arab nations. How hard is it to see that Christianity is a divisive force in American society? It divides people.
It sets a hierarchy of one group of people being superior or better than the other group of people based on belief and outer characteristics, completely in opposition to Christ that promotes unity and equality among people. Look at yourselves. Those of you who grew up in a Christian background or Christian environment, you had questions. The church could not answer them, and you suddenly saw that it does not make sense. So you have to look elsewhere for answers. And more people are making that shift, and therefore they are refusing to sit there blindly in their churches and listen to these pastors and their Jesus this and Jesus that. And so if you left Christianity and you felt that you have been brainwashed, then your assessment is correct, because you have been. But because you have not found the Christ balance in you that would allow you to walk beyond the dualistic extremes of the Antichrist mind, when you left Christianity, you became susceptible to another influence of the serpentine mind that exists and operates only in duality, in dualistic polarities, expressed in other religions, belief systems, or, for America, this is predominantly the worldview of scientific materialism that outright rejects and denies Christ's potential in you, your spiritual nature, and God's reality altogether. How is this any different to Christianity, which directly denied the Christ potential in you, your real spiritual nature, and claimed, "From dust you came, to dust you shall return," that you are a sinner by birth, promoting a false image of Christ, of Jesus, and of God? And while you have found relief and freedom from the serpentine lies in Christianity, unfortunately, you are again filling your mind with dead men's bones of a different variety. In other words, the serpent is not going to give up just because you finally broke free from Christianity or any other religion. It will do everything it can to continue to keep you trapped on the path of the Antichrist, in the Antichrist mind, for as long as it can. This dark force will use every beam in your eye, every unresolved psychology in you, every wound created by Christianity or any other religion, every false illusion it sowed into your heart and mind to manipulate you, to drag you into a false salvation. And this is why Jesus constantly spoke about balance, attaining Christ balance, that the Christ way is between two extremes, because these extremes are of an antichrist nature. They can only be of an antichrist nature. This unbalance is clearly expressed between people swinging between Christianity and scientific materialism, switching one dogma, one set of lies, one set of illusions for another. I am, of course, specifically referring to people who are now worshiping a set of materialist dogmas, one of which is the theory of evolution, elevated from the status of a theory to an infallible truth supposedly validated by science. Again, not much different to what you see in any other belief system, with their primary dogma that there is nothing beyond the material realm, that you are not allowed to question, and that you are either nothing more than a highly evolved animal or a sophisticated chemical reaction. But if you refuse to follow Christ, if you refuse to allow the Christ mind to be born in you, to develop Christ discernment and connect to the universal Christ mind beyond your personal mind, then you will never be able to walk the middle way of the Christ in you, always being influenced by the dualistic forces of the Antichrist in this world, who will parade their wares, their ideas, their belief systems before you, and claim that this is real or that is real, and that those ideas are infallible truth. And you will believe the serpent, because you cannot discern between what comes from Christ and what comes from the Antichrist mind. You just have to believe, have faith, no different to what Christians are doing.